Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feeling bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Who the hell is that?
That's
Heinz gets velvet. I am trainer of dolphins. You want to talk to the dolphin? You talk to me.
What happened to the regular trainer?
What happened to him? What happened to me? 7 years I'm with Siegfried. We are making the dolphins disappear, and then Roy is coming with the white tiger and the stuffing in the pants, and I'm gone.
where is Snowflake?
Why do you care about the dolphin? Do you know him? Does he call you at home? Do you have a dorsal fin? To train the dolphin, you must think like the dolphin. You must be getting inside the dolphin's head and communicating. I'm saying to Snowflake, "Aga, aga, 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 aga," and he is saying, "Aga, aga," and he is up on the tail. And you can quote him.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I'm Sweetie.
and I'm Sweetie.
And today we did a juggernaut, a juggernaut of comedy, if you will.
Okay.
It's everyone's favorite movie about the Miami Dolphins.
What?
Ace Ventura Pet Detective.
The classic film from 1994. This was totally in the heyday of the 90s 90s comedian like comedy that stars a big comedian.
Oh, I was gonna say like launching point for Jim Carrey, and this started his like crazy rise to fame in the 90s.
Yes,
because he did some minor roles. We've already covered him in Earth Girls Are Easy. Once Bitten, I believe,
good one,
was his first film. Maybe
no, I don't think so.
One of his first.
Other ones.
As a Canadian comedian who then was like in LA as a comedian, right? Found himself on Living Color and then kind of moved on from there to then these movies. But this was his first like big one. I'm not totally sure since I like saw this not in theaters. A little too young. 11. I don't know. Actually, that's not super young. How it did in like the movie theaters. I feel like I saw the sequel in the movie theater though.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Probably. Sounds right. I mean, we rented this a lot, and I guess we saw it on TV.
But like, how big was it when it came out? Were people like? I just feel like this is another movie that had gained
sure it
so
was big because
much popularity.
Yeah, and it was one of the movies that everyone said the lines, and after a while they became very overplayed, and everybody was like, alrighty then, like all the time, you know? That was like the big one, and all the cool kids at school would say it, and then you were like, yeah, that's not cool anymore.
But like, was the 90s like the heyday? Okay, so I get what you're saying of comedian comedies.
So Wayne's World,
Yep.
I wouldn't put that in the same category.
Austin Powers, all the
Jim Carrey movies.
So
We're only naming Jim Carrey and Mike Myers movies, but there were others, I'm sure. Tommy Boy,
yeah, right, exactly. Okay, so like SNL kind of.
But he wasn't on SNL. He was in Living Color.
Right. Yeah. Damon Wayans movies, Major Payne. So yeah.
Sure. But
yeah. So this movie is probably again like one of my top 10 all comedies of all time. I seem to have a lot of those. I also, and I feel like I said this about Wayne's World, but it is true. I can recite this one like front to back.
Yes,
you
can
very easily.
And just as soon as we started watching, I was like, oh man, like I just remember everything so perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with some movies you watch them and you're like, oh, I forgot about this scene, but not here. You're like, I know exactly what's coming next. I know exactly the line. I remember what that carpet looks like in that scene. Like,
I must have seen this movie 1,000 times. I must have been watching it every week for a couple of years.
Yeah, it
To
was
the
your
level-
babe. It was your babe.
It
The
was
gown
my
pick.
babe. It was my baby. I just memorized everything. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. I've always thought Jim Carrey was hilarious. Where did you go, JC?
He's like doing art. He's got like a studio. He like does art now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a great career.
Personal problems in the last couple of years.
Sure.
Dating Jenny McCarthy.
But I
remember that girlfriend committed suicide and he's getting like sued by his
sort of.
the woman's husband.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, sure. That aside, he's had a great career. I mean, he's one of the few comedians from this era who really has range, I think. Yeah. And Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is the perfect indication
Truman
of
Show?
that. And the Truman Show. Well, I mean, he still was like
Kind
there
of
was
funny,
funny in that, but but like whereas Eternal Sunshine, there's like one specific moment where he's Jim Carrey, and then the rest is just a totally different person, and I really value that in a performer. So props to you, JC, not to be confused with JC Chazé, which in an earlier podcast,
Or Jesus Christ.
we mistakenly referred to JC's name as Joshua Scott, or Charles. But his name, Josh Charles, which is the name of the guy in The Good Wife.
Yes.
Right? / Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Classic wedge cat.
JC's name actually is Joshua Chazé.
Yeah.
JC.
It's that annoying thing where people use their initials as their first name. It's dumb.
Who else does that?
A lot of people. I can't tell you who they are right now, but they're out there and you know I'm talking about you.
All right. Okay.
But
this
yeah,
movie
so
also
good.
stars another person who was having a heyday in the 90s. Courtney Cox.
Yeah, Courtney.
Obviously very big in Friends, very skinny. She's too skinny. It's upsetting to me. She's so skinny. Do you think she had an eating disorder, or is she one of those really tiny people like Sarah Jessica Parker, who's just like very tiny?
I think she's tiny, but I'm sure she watches her weight as well. So,
Well, she could use a few more pounds. I think there's like the bones in those
I don't know. I don't
dresses
think
she
she
wore.
looks like that unhealthy. I think it like fits her body type.
I guess. Also starring Tone Loc. Great.
Yeah. So random.
Great
I was
role
like,
for him.
random.
He's actually a
Tone
pretty good
Loc
little actor.
side
He's
type-
doing a lot of writing
sidekick.
these days.
Oh, wow.
He was in a few other movies in this time, so I guess
Did
it was
he write a memoir called Funky Cold Medina?
maybe, but that is one of his songs. But if on IMDb, his first thing is performer, obviously, and he just like has all these soundtrack credits. I cannot tell you how many movies have used the song "Wild Thing" by
Right.
Tone Loc in their movies. It's a lot.
Well, I started
Maybe at
writing
least
down
15.
like 90s touchstones for this. Touchstones for this one. Courtney Cox being one of them. Tone Loc being another.
Good one.
The term loser.
Yep.
Very well overdone, let's say, in the 90s. Dan Marino / the Dolphins.
Used to be big, not so much anymore.
DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. And Isotoner Gloves.
What about homophobia?
Up homophobia and that like weird condom hat that Courtney Cox is wearing
What
with
is
those
that
like
called?
weird
It's like
print
a fold,
boho dresses.
It's like a fold down. Like
Yeah.
you can wear that hat maybe like the full way down, or you can roll it up and it becomes the
It's
condom
a
hat.
condom cap.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
not
condom
flattering.
cap
It's a bad hat.
with a reservoir tip.
That's some bad hat, Harry. Yeah.
So it's just like it's a very awesome 90s movie in that sense. However, I think it really holds up because the comedy is quite the range of pop culture little Easter eggs, let's say, much like Wayne's World, where Jim Carrey does tons of impressions and stuff and pulls in like classic TV show and classic movie like little tropes.
But
and stuff.
he's just so funny that even if you like, I didn't know
Right,
any of
exactly.
those references when I was little, and I still just thought he was hilarious because this is like his peak craziness, I would say. Probably his craziest character. Well, maybe the mask when he's the mask.
I read in the trivia that this persona, so the Ace Ventura persona, so they went before he was cast, or I guess before they read through the script a couple times. They thought he was supposed to be like a bumbling kind of idiot, a little bit like Mr. Magooey kind of person. And then once he was cast, they were like, "Oh no, like let's make this actually like a smart guy." And then he sort of took the role and did some stuff to the script. So he added the alrighty then part to it. And he kind of based the character on this character from In Living Color, where he was the overconfident gay guy, it was called. So he like used that and like framed it into this because it's like so crazy. And there's this one moment in this film. It's literally one line where he's serious, where he's trying to apologize to Melissa after like yelling at her.
Calling her fat.
Yeah.
Jeez, no wonder
That's
she
a
had an
funny
eating
scene.
disorder.
And it's so awkward when he like plays it serious or straight man. So that's like how far deep this character goes into like the zane, which is what makes it what it is, right?
So zany.
So good.
Zany Waney. Also starring Sean Young, who I didn't really knew nothing about
she really
until I
known
saw
for?
this movie. Well, she was in Blade Runner. She
Okay.
was in some other things like in the 80s. But remember, there's like this big. I remember was watching this on like I Love the 90s or something,
Yeah.
or the 80s. She really wanted to be cast as Catwoman in Batman Returns.
Whoa.
And she like there was this whole crazy thing where she like was wearing the costume on like some talk show and was like obsessed with how like she was the perfect person for the role. And
wasn't
yeah,
she
she's
like a
little crazy.
hot ticket
She could cray.
actress like for a while? Like she's like
think
the
so.
hottest, like a
And
really
then she
hot
went
woman in
mental.
Hollywood. Yeah, and kind of had a breakdown.
Which you can tell in the last scene of this movie where she's like doing like weird like convulsions.
It's because she's standing there in her underwear and is like embarrassed.
Or she's mental. I don't know.
She is
It's such a weird scene. But anywho, I guess we shall talk about it now. Not sure
Awkward
what that
segue.
accent is.
It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yes, we did. Places
already
out,
there.
Mr. Chickadance.
Ace Ventura is a pet detective in Miami, Florida. He spends his days looking for lost dogs, lost albino pigeons, and tries to get through rewards. Unfortunately, it seems that he's only collecting money in the form of blowjobs. So he's not making a lot. He
Or is he?
is presented with the case one night where, well, let's back up. One night, the Miami Dolphins mascot, Snowflake the Dolphin, gets kidnapped. Dolphin napped, if you will, and taken away. The operations people, was that what Melissa was? I know Roger
Manager,
Perdactor was like the
PR,
operations manager.
communications
Yeah, she's
specialist or
something like
Who
that.
knows?
They hire a pet detective and they go with Ace Ventura because I'm sure he's the only one. In the phone book, he's got a monopoly, you know. So he comes, he checks it out. So the whole movie is just kind of him trying to figure out the case. So he weasels his way into the Miami Dolphins employee stuff, meets Melissa, who we don't know her actual job title, but I'm sure it's important.
Bony little bitch.
She has
Melissa
she has Dan Marino's schedule in her book, so I'm sure she's important. He is close with a police officer in the police department, played by Tone Loc, Emilio, E for short. So that's kind of like his in to the police department. Meanwhile, the Miami police hate him because he's always sticking his nose in the cases, I guess.
Well, and also he's a good detective. So
But they don't want to admit it.
exactly. So that's like the whole story is that he has this job and they always make fun of him, but he's actually a really good detective and really smart. He has that detective mentality where he sees things that other people
He's
don't.
like a Sherlock Holmes, if you will.
Yes.
But more
flaming
insane.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
So he starts connecting the dots. He finds this little pebble in Snowflake's tank. Realize it comes from a Dolphins AFC championship ring. So then determines that, okay, whoever stole Snowflake has one of these rings, so he's got to be a player or someone on the team, and a coach or whatever.
Which is a pretty good, solid lead. I
Yeah.
mean, if as far as leads
I
go,
mean, they
like,
had
that's
no
the ticket.
leads, zero leads.
Yes. So he finds a picture and one by one goes through all the football players. Doesn't
Great,
find them.
great montage to a great Aerosmith song.
Only the second 90s movie with an Aerosmith montage. The other is Mrs. Doubtfire. The dude looks like a lady.
Okay.
I always mix these two scenes up. But yes, not the scenes, but the songs. Even though it's pretty obvious that Mrs. Doubtfire is dude looks like a lady.
Were they the same year? I think that was just Miss Doubtfire.
Probably.
94. Also 90s touchstone.
Yes,
Touchstone. Why do I keep
yes.
saying touchtone?
Touchstone
touchtone?
Pictures.
Aerosmith.
Yes,
90s
good one.
touchstone.
Also in Wayne's World too.
Oh my God.
Oh my god. Okay, so one night after going through all these leads, whatever, doesn't find it, he sees another picture of the 84 Dolphins and notices there's somebody in that picture who is not in the picture that he has. And this person is Ray Finkel, who had a disastrous final kick in the Super Bowl in 84, missed the field goal, they lost by 1 point, so he lost the game for the Dolphins.
Wait, it was 10 years ago?
Yes, 8 years ago, I think.
Dan Marino was the The quarterback.
I don't know. He's old. So
1984 championship ring.
like I said, I'm still not confident that the quarterback holds the ball for the kicker.
No,
so maybe
right.
he had a different position. I don't know. They said 8 years. It was 84.
So this, okay. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that tape was kind of old looking.
Yeah. The Dolphins lose the Super Bowl. So he tracks Ray Finkel down to his hometown of Collier County, which is is actually probably Naples, because I don't think Collier County is a real place. It's a county. It's a county, but it's not a town.
Right. Why didn't they say the town? That was
because they couldn't. I don't know. They didn't want to make people feel bad that it was like a slum.
Anyway, that's southwest Florida. For
Our
y'all who don't know.
Our grandparents had a
Their license plates
winter
in Collier
place.
County, so we were like, "Do you live near Ray Finkel?" When we were little.
We were like, I hope not. That place is scary as fuck. So he goes there. Ray Finkel's not there, but he sees his bedroom, and it's covered in Dan Marino death memorabilia. Pictures of Dan Marino with like a knife in his head, Die Dan graffiti, the usual stuff. Yeah. So he realizes, this guy's crazy. So he finds out that he was in a mental institution, and he broke out 8 years ago, right?
Well, I guess he was committed after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, committed after Super Bowl, obviously, because he was cray-cray. But he got out. So they go to this mental institution, look through his stuff. They find more death to Dan Marino paraphernalia. Isotoners must have been a sponsor for this movie because there's 2 isotoner parts.
Also, 90s touchdown isotoner gloves. Those were a huge deal.
Is that what O.J.
why.
Simpson wore?
Yes.
Oh.
Probably.
There was also a Bronco. The bad guys have a Bronco, so it's very
90s
super
touchdown.
90s. I mean, it's just the 90s. Everything in this is going to speak to the 90s. Like Einhorn's car, whatever that was called. I hate those cars. Those 2-door, Crown Royal.
I don't remember cars, but I know what you're saying. I know
Crown
what you're
Royal?
saying.
I don't know. Okay,
That's
so
a whiskey.
I know. That's why I was like, I don't think that's right. Anyways, so we need to find Ray Finkel, is what the deal is. Also in this box at the mental institution is a newspaper article that says a missing hiker named Lois Einhorn has been missing. I don't think it says anything else other than that she's missing.
Missing hiker missing. Good headline.
Yeah, I wrote it. So he's like, what? So Finkel and Einhorn must be related. So Einhorn is the police chief, the woman who everyone's like obsessed with. It's pretty sexist. Everyone's like, has to make a sexist comment, like, you're so hot, chief, boss lady, whatever. And she kisses everyone, apparently. So.
You find out later why.
Or now. I'm about to tell you. So he's like mulling over this. He's like, Finkel and Einhorn and Finkel, how are they related? He is kind of giving up, and then the dog lies down on the Ray Finkel tabloid picture, and its hair makes a perfect wig over the face. So he's like, oh my god. He's like, Einhorn is a man, or Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Einhorn's a man. And then so that's the ticket. So meanwhile, Dan Marino's shooting a commercial, and he's like, we have to get Dan. He's gonna be in trouble. They don't get to him. The police don't get to him in time. The bad guys take him to this abandoned dock area, marina. I don't know. Dan
Marino in the marina.
In the marina.
Good one.
Okay, good one.
You really find yourself funny. That was the most indulgent laugh I've ever seen.
It was a laugh because we both said the same thing at the same time. I know, because we both said the same thing. Shut up.
Funny.
Okay, so now we got Dan Marino, we got Snowflake. Einhorn's kind of been enacting her revenge plan, which was to kill them, I guess. Still uncertain about that. Which, she already has them. He's already missing the Super Bowl. They're both already missing the Super Bowl. So it seemed like a dumb, bogus plan. So she calls the police force.
Why isn't your plan better?
I have the kidnapper. It's Ace Ventura. The police squad comes. Ace tries to take off her clothes to prove that she's a man. It's not happening. She has got boobs, no wig. He's like, shit, no penis.
No
so
penis.
he's like, fuck.
Or does she?
So then Dan Marino's like, Ace, come here. And he's standing kind of behind her, and he whispers in his ear. And then he turns her around, and she has a penis. It's tucked. So it's sticking out. I had no idea, just for the record, I had no idea what the fuck was going on when I was little. I gathered it was a penis, but I was like, why does a penis look like that? First of all, I had no idea that was a thing. So everybody freaks out. Everybody throws up because they all kissed her because she apparently kissed everybody in the whole police department, including Snowflake, the dolphin.
What?
That's what they cut to Snowflake going he's spitting out water too. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I missed that part.
So that's it. And then they bring Dan Marino back. He gets back in time for the second half of the Super Bowl, which, I mean, kind of a crisis. Wait, why was he filming a commercial when the Super Bowl was happening?
Is this all in one day? No. It was the day before, wasn't it?
But it said he was there for he was at that abandoned place for a whole day before the Super Bowl.
And then he had to go play.
That seems unlikely.
Yeah, the timeline is fuzzy here. Like, nobody knows. Super fuzzy Super Bowl. But yeah, so he comes back in the second half. He gets to play. Ace gets the girl at the end. They're kissing, and then he sees an albino pigeon and goes forward. And it's
He's
just
never going to
hijinks.
get that pigeon. He's never going to get the pigeon. Which, how do you track a fucking
Some
pigeon?
rich guy lost it. He's offering a $25,000 reward.
Why do
That's
you own a
really
pigeon?
Good reward.
It is, but he's never going to catch that
Find
pigeon.
The bird. You're paid.
And that's the flick. So it's really just a mystery, if you will. We're with Ace trying to figure it out.
I think it's a good story.
It is. It's very I still find it very confusing.
What is confusing about it?
Because I always thought that, well, okay. So for this to have worked, he would have to escape the mental institution, like get, I'm assuming, plastic surgery to completely, mask his identity and look like a woman. Because he's not just wearing women's clothing and grew his hair out.
But
he
I
had
think
plastic
that
surgery.
Hiker, she was obviously a police officer, but didn't.
Was she?
Yeah. I mean,
But then he had to talk to the family? I'm like, I don't get it.
What family?
Her family. She was missing.
No, he didn't he moved. I think he moved to a different town and was just like, "Hey, I'm Lois Einhorn," applied for jobs and stuff like that under her identity.
But it wouldn't have come up that she was presumed missing?
No.
That's why I never understand this missing, taking over someone's identity when they're missing.
I mean, I
person.
think you have to just let that go in the sense that this
it's
is
just always confused me
unsolved
because I feel
mysteries.
like you need a lot of experience to be head of a police department, and they don't just give that job to whoever. And I feel like there would be a lot of reference checking.
She went to the police academy
Yeah, but you have to
and became a lieutenant in that 8 years.
Yeah, it's weird.
Or was she all okay? See, this is the part this is what I thought happened. That Lieutenant Einhorn was already a lieutenant. She just he just took over
It
her
didn't
identity.
say that in the newspaper article. It just said a missing hiker.
Well, how do you know what her job is? You don't know.
I don't know.
She was a police officer, I think, and then just
guess.
rose through the ranks. Apparently, he
By
was
kissing
not only
everyone.
an amazing kicker, but he also had a penchant for police work.
Which is very surprising.
And bossing people
Because
around.
if he was-
and also, it was awesome woman rising the ranks. They
Who just
probably
kissed
wanted her.
everyone. She rose the ranks by having sex with people. I think that's what was implied. Not sex, but making out with them and being sexually.
That's how you get jobs?
in
Man,
this
I'm
movie,
not-
that's why I said it was sexist because she has to kiss every man and use her sexuality
she
to get
did
what
that
she needs.
knowing that she was a man.
But
she
she
did it
kissed
to gross
every
everybody
person.
out.
I don't know.
Yes, that's why.
See, this is why it's confusing. I think it's confusing, and
She liked using that part of it, sure, but I think in some ways she was getting back at people who she kind of hated anyway.
the police. What do the police do to her?
She
To Ray
doesn't-
Finkel.
She's insane. She is an insane person. Or he.
I know.
Whatever you want to look at it.
Well, that's the other thing. If you are that mentally ill and you are able to hide that basically and hold a normal job in life or whatever, I just think it's impressive.
This is not a drama.
I know.
I want to remind you this.
I just watching it on this, I'm like, what?
It's
I
a
didn't get it.
comedy.
I didn't get it.
I mean, do you dissect the movie White Girls?
I've never
much?
seen White
You've never
Girls.
seen White Girls?
Only you have.
So
You're the
bad.
only person in the world.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, now you're getting cranky.
Okay, so we'll move on from that question. So, what? Okay, can I be a pet detective? What are the steps I need to take to get that job? It doesn't seem like you need any experience and that you need a real education.
He had a real kinship with animals. I don't know if you remember that story.
That wasn't a real story.
The speech to Melissa where
With the
bit
dog?
him.
I thought he just did that to scare her.
No, obviously he just loves animals more than people.
I love animals.
Do you love animals more than people?
Yes, most animals.
Maybe you could become a pet detective.
All right, I'll think about it. Just seems. I mean, it seems a little hard. It seems kind of fun because
I mean, it's not a very lucrative job.
Well, that's the thing. Do I have to only get paid in blowjobs? What is the deal here? Also, I think he should be a little more careful with the money, right? He was like, a reward would be nice. She's like, how about I take your pants off instead? And he's like, sure. Come on, you need the money.
He's a nut job. You're taking this movie way too seriously for once in your life. Stop.
Okay.
Don't touch my ace. He's
So,
mine.
all right, fine. You go then.
Okay. Blowjob confusion. So at the
Back
beginning,
on the blowjob.
as we're just talking about the blowjob scene. So the first scene is really awesome. He pretends to be this, a little Shih Tzu goes missing, and it's like a custody kind of battle. So I guess a couple was married or dating, and they broke up, and this like gross guy kidnapped his ex-girlfriend's dog. So he sneaks into the apartment by pretending to be a delivery man. And HGS, which is, if you look at it upside down, I guess says UPS or something.
No, that's like a package company in the 90s, right?
No, it's fake.
What?
I read the trivia. Do your homework. So he like has this like a stomach, and it's a
You're
fake
right.
dog.
It's Harvard
inside of
Divinity
it.
School.
Oh my god. He has like a fake dog inside of his stomach, so he like goes and he delivers this package, and he totally like busts it up. It's like the funniest scene. He's like kicking the package down the hall like a soccer ball, and he's doing all these like funny like soccer things, and it's great.
Yep.
So he steals the little dog back and then puts it in his shirt and like runs away with him, and then the guy comes back and busts up his car. That's why his car is all busted through the whole movie. Blah blah. So he returns the dog, and she's like, "Oh, like, how can I ever repay you? A reward would be nice," which is weird because you wouldn't
Agree
work
you was
that
just
out
doing this?
contract wise.
Shoddy. Yeah.
That's kind of bad. And she's like, "Would you like me to take your pants off instead?" And he goes, "Gee, let me think. Sure." And then it's just like this zip that like really loud unzip noise. And then he puts his hand on like the top of the mantle or whatever he's in, like the door jamb
Ceiling.
and then he's just like surfing. It's a surfing music that like plays, and he goes, "Gee, for the love of Pete, real friendly around here. Whoa!" And he's like moving all around. It's hilarious. So as a little kid watching this, really not clear about what blowjobs were at all.
No
I
idea.
think.
No clue.
And you're like, what is happening down there? What is she doing to him? Like, that looks like it hurts.
So, yeah, like this movie, blowjobs and sex gave me like a real confusion in this movie. And I think an unfair for little boys expectation of what a blowjob maybe was. Like, what was happening?
Was that pleasurable?
I don't know. Very confused about it still. Also, I was just thinking we had a question also about like why was that gross guy with that like hot lady? So maybe he was just the guy that stole the dog, and that's not her ex-husband, and her ex-husband hired that guy to steal the dog.
Yeah, could be.
I just had that thought
Yeah.
like when you were explaining that scene. I was like, oh, maybe that's it. I get it now. Yeah, because they would never be together.
I don't know, but because she says like, "Oh, did Daddy hurt you?" Like, blah, blah. He can keep that big screen TV, but he can't. But did that guy have a big screen TV?
We didn't really see enough of it to see. I don't
I
know.
didn't think of that.
I mean, that could be it. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was confusing. The sex scene, very confusing. She was like, oh my God, 3 times?
Yeah.
Didn't get that. We just didn't know a lot about sex. I mean, I knew some things, but not that. But not those things.
I think I thought it used to be like he was telling her this story about something happening 3 times. Because the way she says it, it's like she feels bad for him. Doesn't the way she delivers the line?
That's why
she's
he
like,
says
3 times?
Yeah, that's why that's why he's like, oh, I don't know what got into me. I must be tired.
Yeah.
Like he should do it more. He should.
No,
be
but
able
she
to
was
go more
impressed
times.
with 3 times.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's usually one time, if that. Like, well, for the woman, but yeah. So, good times.
Yeah.
Good times, confusing sex things.
Yeah. Definitely as a 10 or 11-year-old, you would have been like 8, right? Oof.
Yeah. So I also had confusion about a lot of the lines. I will say that as funny as Jim Carrey is, he's not great at enunciating. So
I went to see a movie last night, and this woman could not hear, and literally every 5 lines, the woman, she was in my row, she'd be like, "What did she say?" And their husband had to whisper it to her, and then she'd be like, "What?"
Oh,
And
God.
then he had to whisper it again.
lady, get one of those things, the
Or-
headphones.
I'm
headset
sorry, you
things.
can't go to the movies if you can't
Well,
hear.
they have hearing assistant things at the movie theater.
My
You
God.
need one of those.
It was insane.
That's too
And
bad.
then what? So I think they were Jewish, and then I saw the Emily Dickinson movie, so it's like very steeped in Christianity. And this part, I don't know. There's some part about being some whatever religion they were, and they got.
Episcopalian?
No, I don't think they were, because they make a joke about Episcopalian. Oh. And so then the guy goes, "Wow, makes you glad glad to have Judaism or something like that. And she's like, what? And the guy was like, never mind. She's like, no, tell me.
Oh, good.
So basically, like, yelled in the theater. He's like, makes you glad to have Judaism.
Great movie going experience for you.
Insane.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, so the lines that
Wait, and I just want to say this one more time. This was at that movie theater that we saw The Artist, and it was the same thing.
It's probably the same person.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And we were like, why do people go to the movies if they think that they can talk like they're in their living room? Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it's confusing. Sorry. Okay, so the two lines that I had trouble understanding was so when he like parks the car perfectly and he goes like a glove, like it fits like a glove. It's perfect. I always thought you said he like come love.
That's good. That could work too.
No, that's always confusing. The confusion comes from the fact that the line that you think it is also makes sense.
Right.
So I'm not surprised.
Wait, can we do my one at the party?
We
too?
will. The next one I had is when he needs to explain, like, the Guado steps on the cockroach and is like, what is your story or whatever. So the last line of that is Pork and his wife.
I think it was parking.
Yes. So I thought it was, he was barking his wife.
Okay, I'm going to say that I did too, and then I used that instead of porking for a very long time to mean like rough sex.
You know what? It kind of, I thought it made sense to like parking, like Back to the Future, like parking his wife and making, like.
Or then I maybe also thought that it meant his wife was as big as a car, that you could park her.
That makes sense too. That's right. There's a lot of possibilities here, a lot of interpretations. Anything goes. Okay, so what was your sweetie confusion, which we just discovered?
Yeah,
we just discovered today.
Clearly still confused.
We just cleared it up today.
Apt to be. So he goes to the party. This guy, Ron Camp, is a rare fish collector, billionaire, and he like donates money to the dolphins.
What's oh, that's what his.
So they find out
relationship
his
is
little
to the
friend.
dolphins.
Yeah. So his little friend Woodstock is like an animal rights activist and has like a computer that has like can tap into all the aquatic supply stores and see who's been buying equipment. So he's like, okay, if someone has to house a dolphin, they'll need to like buy all this extra equipment. So they find out that this billionaire, Ron Camp, has like all this extra equipment. So they go to his party and he pretends to be this lawyer, Tom Ace, and as Melissa's date. And he's like talking about how like, oh, back at Stanford Law, we learned about the proliferation of food poisoning cases against wealthy private homeowners. Mm-hmm. You can make quite a lucrative career out of little else, is what he said, right?
Yeah.
You can make quite a lucrative career out of little else. It's like a mouthful. So I thought it meant you can make quite a career out of a lint louse. Thinking a lint louse was like the louse getting, what's a louse, first of all? Lice?
It's like a knit. Yeah, isn't it like a bug?
Singular of lice. A louse?
Yeah, I think so.
And I thought like getting into the food, lice into the food. Maybe it still means that. Are we sure? We should look up that line.
Listen to the line. You could make a lucrative career out of little else. Like that's all you need to be. That's all you need to prosecute people, like sue people for, to make money.
What a lint louse is.
I really don't think it's a thing.
My God, if it is, are you paying me
lice
$1 million?
Need to live in something that they can get blood out of. There's no blood in lint, so they wouldn't survive. That doesn't make sense. Real time Googling lint louse.
I don't see anything.
Okay,
but a louse is lice.
Yeah, we figured that
lice.
out. Singular of lice. We get it. Okay, so back to Woodstock, whose name is actually, I wrote it down, Greg. Greg Woodstock. Mm-hmm. What do you think that guy's job is?
Watching the fishies, man.
I think he is an environmentalist pirate, like that guy that show Whale Wars, right, where they would attack Japanese whaling vessels and sabotage them.
It's like
and
Greenpeace or whatever,
right? So he was sending whaling ships new coordinates, so they went to different places and couldn't find whales. So he's also an animal activist, I guess. But I don't know why his headquarters is in that club.
Oh, yeah. It's in the rock club. Well, he's like an old hippie. I don't know.
It's like a heavy metal club.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. Is that guy in other movies? I meant to check if he was a famous comedian. It's such a random part. but I'm not sure. He looks like Garth.
Is he on like the Jeff Foxworthy show or something?
Is he Jeff Foxworthy? Oh, I was like, shit. We fucked
90s
it
touchstone
up.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh, that guy. Raynor Shine.
Raynor Shine. Good
My
old
cousin
Raynor.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Lincoln. Beanpole.
Oh yeah.
Josiah S. Beanpole Burton. You know, that guy. He's a character actor.
I love that part when he like has this little hideout when Ace Ventura goes and he like knocks on the door and he's like, "What's the password?" And Ace goes, "New England clam chowder. Is that the red or the white?" Ugh, can never remember that. White. And as a kid, I was like, I know.
Why would it be the red? No one gets the red.
Ick. Though,
Not a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, it is. to
It
some
is,
people.
but I whatever. No, fuck that.
It's not good. Sorry, Manhattanites. It's disgusting. I don't like clams and tomato sauce is not the best.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a white sauce.
Would you have sex with Ace Ventura?
Yeah, and I mean, I was like looking at some close-ups of Jim Carrey, and he's actually pretty cute. Really nice teeth. Good
thing
face
too that he can catch a bullet in his teeth. They're
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
no,
I
he's
don't,
cute. He's just like too zany.
Yeah,
He would never be serious.
I don't think that relationship panned out. I'm just gonna
No,
say.
I mean, they weren't together in the second one, so.
Well, who knows? It was in the jungle.
But he wasn't in the jungle the whole time.
He
There was like a
wasn't?
beginning part.
There is.
No, well, he goes to like Nepal
Yeah.
in the beginning. There's that like cliffhanger spoof at the beginning with the oh god, that's so sad. The
raccoon. That's so good.
Oh, it's so
Yeah, that's a good
sad.
sequel. Now I'm thinking about it.
Another sequel that was only a year after this movie, just like Wayne's World.
And I really think I saw that in the theater. I'm almost positive.
Yeah,
So
I think
funny.
definitely makes sense.
Yeah, that one has like such another. Well, it's not as. I don't think it's as good. The plot's horrible. It's so stupid.
Yeah, a lot of the same beats.
yeah.
But
Some not, and they're hilarious. Oh my god, the
There's
bumblebee tuna part.
the rhino,
So good.
the rhino part. There's some good things in there. Good
Wait,
things.
what's something about? What's the part? It's like, excuse me, I can see your balls.
No, he goes, your balls are showing.
Excuse me, your balls. Bumblebee tuna. Bumblebee
Yeah.
tuna.
There's some good lines. Don't count it out yet. It's a pretty okay movie.
Kind of hot in these rhinos.
So, additional question, more of a serious question. Do like using Wayne's World as a mirror here, like as a similar.
Wow.
What's happening?
Take another sip of that cider.
Oh, God. as a
Similarly?
you had trouble too for a second. Okay. This movie, do you laugh in scenes that do not contain Ace Ventura?
Oh. Well, what scenes are those?
Well, there's like that scene with Roger Protector and Melissa when they are talking, like the guy's like, we gotta get that dolphin on fire.
Yeah, I think that one's funny. I have a player who hasn't washed his jockstrap in 2 years because he thinks flies are lucky.
Maybe.
You don't think that's
Yeah,
funny?
I don't know. I was just thinking of like Wayne's World where there's all these other funny parts that don't contain Wayne and Garth
But
necessarily.
it's like I mean, there is like 3 scenes
Yeah.
that maybe do not contain.
Okay. But it's okay. But so Courtney Cox is a comedic actress, I would say.
Yeah.
Friends is a comedic role. She's not given like one funny part in this whole movie, which always makes me sad. I mean, like none of the women are funny in this. One is a psycho, also is a man.
Pretty funny.
Shania, what?
Yeah.
She's funny?
Yeah. At the end when she's going nuts. Yeah.
I'm like, that's supposed to be funny. I think it's
pretty
creepy.
funny.
It's
I think
scary.
It's funny.
Okay, it could be funny. Could be funny. I'm sorry. I'm just sad when it's just like common. Obviously, it was a bigger problem in the '90s of women not getting comedic parts. They're always like the bitchy, the straight person.
Yeah.
The straight
Well,
man.
I don't think they wrote for anyone really but him in this movie. I don't think it was necessarily like on purpose that they did that. Also, because he's so zany, he takes the attention off of everyone else.
Yeah.
He just, I mean, hate to go to a party with that guy. Yeah. What a nightmare.
Forget it. Any other questions? It's not. Those are all the questions I have. Do you have favorite parts? I have a couple.
Yeah.
You have a
Well,
couple.
I'm going
We
to
all
start
have
with
a
my
couple.
favorite one, which
Oh my God.
upset me today when we went to watch this. The dolphin trainer part, which I think is like the funniest part of the whole movie, not in our copy, which I guess wasn't in a lot of the versions that were in the movie theater, the theatrical release, I guess is what they call it. But then they added it on when they released it on video as like a deleted scene, but like put it into the movie, but it wasn't
really
in our
weird.
copy. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is about because I feel like for the most part, deleted scenes you can tell why they were deleted.
Right.
Maybe we just because we've always seen that scene that we don't feel that way.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it doesn't add anything to the plot or anything, but it just is hilarious.
Does anything add to the plot?
That's true.
Like it's so funny. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
It's
So
great.
like he's in the tank and like Courtney Cox is like, get out of the tank, Ace. Like these reporters are coming. They don't want to let them know that the dolphin has been kidnapped. So they don't want to let the press know. So he pretends to be this dolphin trainer, and the reporters are asking him all these questions about it. So he's like this, I don't know, German dolphin trainer. Heinrich Stillwach. I am trainer of dolphin. You want to talk to the dolphin? You talk to me. What happened to the regular trainer? What happened to him? What happened to me? And then there's this hilarious part at the end where, what happened to Snowflake? Why do you want to know what happened to Snowflake? Do you know him? Does he call you at home? Do you have a dorsal fin? So funny, and his accent is so funny, and just like, it's just
great.
I had memorized that whole thing at one point and could just do it on command.
Yeah.
It was sort of a hidden talent. Still back there.
Yep, parts of it. Sure.
Yep.
Sure. One of my favorite parts is the Mr. Chickadance part. So Mr. Chickadance is his landlord who, that actor, oops, I don't have his name pulled up, but he had a turn of career. He was a big part in Breaking Bad, if you watched that show. So he's like getting into his apartment. He's got all this pet food in a paper bag. And then you hear this like menacing voice behind him that's like, Ventura. And Ace Ventura is very confused. He's like, yes, Satan. And then he looks, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought you were someone else.
You sounded like someone else.
You sounded like someone else. So he's like accusing him of having pets. And he's like, I never bring my work home with me, sir. And what's all this pet food for? Fiber. It's good. It's good.
So good.
One of my faves.
I love the scene in Ron Camp, the billionaire's house. So he pretends to be the date that like Tom Ace, the lawyer. And then he has to like get away to go check to see if Snowflake is in this tank in the back. So he like fakes having diarrhea because he ate some bad pate. So he's like, excuse me, Ron, where's your bathroom? Oh, it's over there. Thanks. I think it's the pate. Stuff probably looks better on the way out, huh?
Yeah.
And then he finds the shark, and there's this whole thing. So then he comes out of the bathroom completely wet because he's been like dragged through the shark tank, and like all his pants are missing and like beat up and stuff like that. So he comes out and he's like, "Do not go in there." Woo! And then the funniest line is when he's like leaving, and he's like, and the Ron Camp's like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Ace. I will check to make sure I'll make sure the plumbing is checked immediately. Make sure that you do. If I had been drinking out of the toilet, I might have been killed." So good.
Yeah, that scene's wild, and I hate that scene because it has a shark in it, which is one of my greatest fears. But that's, in your opinion, as someone not afraid of giant fake sharks that like jump out of the water, do you think that scene is pretty scary in terms of like shark?
No, but it's a really good fake shark that jumps out of the tank.
Yeah, how did they do that?
I don't know.
Did it say?
But I would also like to say that I think in some ways I'm glad Snowflake was kidnapped, because that was a crime that dolphin was kept in that tiny little tank. It wasn't even that deep.
Well, he's found and then kept in that tiny little tank again.
That's why I'm glad he had like a little bit of a...
Well, better question. Why is a great white shark in that tank in his house? Like, why does he need a why is it in a tank?
It's very strange.
And how did Ace Ventura not die when like good job escaping that, you know?
He's an animal whisperer. He can whisper to the sharks.
He looks pretty
as well.
panicked.
Yeah, but he has no bites on him, just his pants are
I
missing.
know. Very impressive. Another impressive feat.
But yeah, I hope the Miami Dolphins do not have a real dolphin mascot, and they don't keep them
think
in
so.
what is essentially an above-ground pool.
I don't think anyone has a real mascot, right?
Let's hope not.
It's weird.
Yeah.
We do have a real patriot, so.
What?
No, just kidding.
Oh, we have people dressed up in the...
No, it's John Adams.
What? I know it's not Sam Adams.
That's what I meant. Sammy Sammy A. My other favorite scene was the Shady Acres scene where he pretends to be a mentally ill patient. He's wearing it's like the classic pink tutu with his like classic crazy hair. Very funny, very good. I just love that whole. He's like just like pretending to be a super football freak, and he's like, "Over here, I'm open." He like does this like funny hand move.
So
It's
funny.
good.
Blue 41, blue 42, rover, zip, hike, hike. I'm ready to go in, Coates. Just give me a chance. You know, a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological. Gonna execute a button hook. Button hook pass super slow mo.
I was like, we're gonna mess it up. So those are my favorite scenes. Do you have any others? Guess not. Guess we're done. What about quotes that you use in everyday situations?
Oh my God, so many. I don't know if
I have 3 main ones.
Oh wow, okay, they'll probably be mine too.
Okay.
Easy done.
So, good question, Aguado. Is we use that a lot. I feel like we use that at least once a week. Just like somebody asks a question and you don't know the answer to it right away. You're like, when does the bus
Good
come?
question,
Good
Aguado.
question, Aguado. My other favorite one is when he goes to Ray Finkel's house and the zany little mom brings cookies, and it's very funny. Oh yeah, well, so there's 2 in this. I didn't write this one down, but we also see this a lot, which I guess we've seen a couple. Oh, we'll find like a little toy football or something at like a baby's house. We go to visit
Or
the
any like
baby.
little things.
Any little thing. I don't know. Yeah, we hold it up and we go, look, they're little footballs.
Yeah, like if it was like a little cup. But wasn't there something really mini I just found for you recently? I was like, look, it's a little teacup.
I feel like we've seen actual little footballs,
Yeah.
and that's
Oh, definitely.
where we say that too. And then the other line in that scene is when she shows him Ray Finkel's room, and it's all crazy, and Ace is very like scared of this room, and she comes in and she's like looking around, and she's like, "What a sports nut, huh?" I just say that like just to comment on like a general something, like it doesn't even have to be a sports nut. Just like, what a sports nut, huh?
Yeah.
And then this one I had a question mark next to him. Because now that I think about it, it's not like specifically a line from this movie.
Oh.
I thought it was like, what's the part when he's like, good call? But it's also in Wayne's World. So I think it was just a 90s thing, right?
Good
so I'm not going
call?
to count that one. There's like another, I forget what scene that is.
It's when who's working on the case? Aguado's working on the case. Aguado, good call.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, well, that's just like a general 90s thing.
Yeah.
So those are my lines.
Okay, yeah. I feel like I have most of those same ones, probably. I probably have used every line at least once in my whole life, in regular life. Whether I said it out loud or not is unclear.
You should say more of them out loud, I think, you know?
I know.
I think that generally people forget this movie.
What?
Not
No.
forget, but they like don't, because it's been so like over like such a like already then cliche comedic thing that
Yeah.
maybe people
But there's so much more to this movie than the cliche lines.
really
Obviously.
tell me more.
Well, because it's that's is already then really the funniest part. No.
Tell me all your thoughts on Ace Ventura,
Good song.
because I really want to meet him.
Am I very far? Am I very far now? Yeah, it's there's just so many more lines, and it's like I said, it's like crazy pop culture stuff. So he uses "It's Alive" from Frankenstein, right? A bunch of Star Trek ones.
Yeah, did
He
not get
pretends
that
to
when I was
be
little.
Captain Kirk and Scotty and
What
Bones.
is what does the Bones line in that? What does like he actually say in that line?
Well, it's like I'm a doctor, not
Not
a
a-
blank blank. It could be
Not
anything.
a pool man.
Yeah, he says pool man.
Not
but
a pool man. Oh, I thought it was like pool, comma.
So in like Star Trek,
man.
they're always like that's always his excuse for everything.
I know
Bones.
that, but
Yeah.
and like I still always think it sounds like he's saying Nana pool. Nana pool man. I did not get it at all when I was little.
You're gonna be like, dear Jim Carrey, please enunciate. Thank you, sweetie. Exorcist. So this house.
Poltergeist.
is-
That's
Oh,
poltergeist.
duh. Why did I put? Oh my god, I can't
But
believe
he
I put
says
Exorcist.
it wrong.
Yeah,
Well, he says, I have exorcised
Exorcised
the
the
demons. Which is not a
demons.
line from
right.
Poltergeist.
But that's from
That's
something
just
else,
like,
isn't
well,
it?
he's just using the Zelda Rubinstein voice
Okay.
from Poltergeist. But he
This
says the wrong
house
line in that is clear. He says clear.
yeah, it's clean.
I think it's clean.
Yeah, that's what I
In
thought.
Poltergeist. He says he fucked it up.
Yeah, but because I feel like I've used that also just from knowing poltergeist too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, what am I actually using it
Right.
from?
It's confusing.
Well, this one,
Just like
this
Good
one,
Call.
this one, this one, this one, this one.
The Love Boat, right?
Up the Love Boat. Yep. Excuse me, Captain Subing, Howard, Gopher, and Doc. Permission to come aboard, sir.
Which is funny, yeah, because a lot of that stuff is very not aimed towards the kids that would be seeing this movie.
Right.
So I guess shout out to the adults watching, maybe?
Right. People who watch TV like 10 to 20 years before, right? Because
Yeah.
like when was Love Boat?
Yeah,
80s?
and Star Trek, yeah. Confusing. I don't know if there are any other ones that I can think of.
I do really love, actually, let's talk about favorite scenes, that montage with the Aerosmith song. So he's like trying to figure out how to like see who has a ring that is missing one of the little orange stones that he found in the fish tank or the dolphin tank. And so he like having to figure out all these ways to see the rings is like pretty ingenious if like you think about it. So the first one he like drives, like tries to get this guy all like road raged up by like beeping at him and swerving and trying to miss him. So he gives him the middle finger. So that's like the first guy. Then he tries to outrun this one guy and he like can't do it because he runs so fast. He hides in a mailbox and somehow knows that like the coach, Don Shula, is going to come. And
You know that.
That's my favorite movie.
Did you look it up?
No.
I don't believe
Coach
you.
Shula's press conference.
don't believe
He was a
you.
very famous coach.
Oh.
And he knows that the guy is somehow going to deliver a letter, so hides in the like one of those blue mailboxes. First of all, how do you get into one of those? I guess there's a door on the side.
you have to take the mail
how you
out.
get the letters.
Yeah.
So he hides in there with a lighter and like one of those little like things that you look at diamonds with, those like little eyepieces. And when the guy puts his hand in to deliver the letters, he like grabs it. He goes to like an autograph signing and pretends to be this little kid, and with all these like fake zits on his face, and gets like stuff signed. He's at a bar and he like gets punched in the face with the rings, so he like counts the rings on like the marks on his face where the guy's ring hit him.
No, that was in the shower. He like does
Oh,
the
the shower, in
towel,
the shower.
the
Yeah,
towel
yeah.
thing. Which another sweetie confusion that the autograph scene is right after the shower scene where he gets punched and then has to count the indents.
Right.
And then we always thought that the things on his face were other indentations where he got punched.
I
and
think
had to
that
count
would
them.
be funnier.
Yeah, but they're just fake zits.
Yeah.
But we were like, oh,
Which is
now I
also
get it.
funny.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's funny that the confusion is like equally as funny
Right.
as the real whatever
See?
it was meant to be.
It's the mark of the good flick. Mark of the good confusion.
It's like choose your own joke.
It's your own joke. I do wonder though if he could just like, what if he just went up to those people and were like, "Hey, can I see your ring? I'm doing an investigation." I bet it would have worked. Yeah. I don't know if he had to go through.
The last guy like cannot get him. He like keeps trying to run him at the track, and the guy's like, "Get away from me!" So he has to use chloroform, jumps on the guy, like total basically assault to like see this guy's ring, and he doesn't.
Like I like
even-
woke up and
isn't
was like, "What the fuck? You left him out there in the sun. What if he got like real sick, real
Yeah,
hot?"
that was a little shady,
know.
but you know, he's getting the job done. He's a smart guy.
Just, yeah, I think there's an easier way, but he wouldn't be Ace if he didn't do it the crazy way. So
Right.
it makes sense.
Yeah, but like props to Jim Carrey. This, started your rise to fame. This followed by The Mask.
The Mask. I loved The Mask.
Liar, Liar.
I love Liar. I love those movies. And
Truman Show.
No one else seems to.
Bruce Almighty. That came a little bit later. Dumb and Dumber. Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
I
Gotta do
just
that.
saw that sequel like last year.
Oh, I did not.
It was pretty horrible.
Yeah, probably. Not. I mean, in the actual sequel, not the like the fake. Remember they had a couple of fake ones, not starring Jim Carrey, like When Harry Met Lloyd and stuff like that. Dumb.
Well, it's just like, and also like the 90s of this time, as we always talk about, the sort of like 90s security blanket is totally woven with the tears of Jim Carrey. I mean, it's just
The sweat.
the sweat and
and
tears
tears.
of
I was
Jim
like, why
Carrey.
was he crying? Why was he upset?
He's a very depressed person in real
Oh, yeah,
life.
I know. A lot of comedians are.
I know. But yeah, he just is so, that thread, that Jim Carrey thread is woven so deep into my 90s security blanket. It's just like, he's just there.
He'll be there for you when the rain starts to fall. Jim will be there for you.
Oh, I was like, what song is that?
Friends, hello.
I know.
God, Courtney Cox, come on. What are we missing? Anything else? God. So much,
I'll
a lot of
be
stuff.
there for you
Tone Loc. You want to talk about
when
Tone
the
Loc
rain
again? No?
turns I mean, he's
Wow,
big, wide
thing.
eyes. Okay.
What do you think about Tone Loc's Ace Ventura song at the end of this, which was specifically written for this movie?
Just okay.
It's called. I forget the name. It's like weird. It's a weird. Oh my god! I can't spell. Wait, Tone. Oh god, I'm mental today. I just tried to spell Tone Loc. TONLOC.
Loche?
Ton Loci.
Lochi. Is he French?
He's my favorite artist, Ton Loci.
Is he Italian? That
Nope.
sounds like it.
He's not. I miss
Funky
Tone Loc. He's
Tone
51
Medina.
years old.
Wow.
Go Tone.
Everyone's 50.
Go Tone.
I know. And what's her name? Courtney Cox is so cute in this, and she just has turned. She got just way too much plastic surgery and turned into a very sad-looking
Like
woman.
Einhorn. I'm just kidding.
No,
kidding.
it's just like, what is it with beautiful women who just
They
like,
wanna
get-
stay looking
I
beautiful.
know, but just if you're that beautiful, I'm sure you'll be a beautiful older woman.
Wow thing.
Too. We're gonna go over the alumni.
Yeah, let's go.
So there's a couple of Large Marge alumni.
Wait, the song that Tone Loc wrote for this movie is called "Aces in the House."
Aces in the house.
Good one.
Good one.
Not.
So Jim Carrey, obviously we talked about before, from Earth Girls Are Easy. 2 from Ghostbusters. So the woman in the library, whose name is...
Was I supposed to look?
I thought you
Her
just
real name?
You knew that.
No.
That was something you knew. So the librarian, the first scene of the Ghostbusters, very great. She's also in Funny Farm. And
So is Woodstock.
What?
Yeah. / Greg.
Wow. And then Mayor from Ghostbusters, Mayor Lenny, also is a doctor in this.
I was like, what? The Shady Acres.
Shady
guy.
Acres.
Okay, her name is Alice Drummond.
Ross Drummond.
Yes, she died. You're right. She died last November. So,
Yeah,
or last
it was.
year,
Yep.
November 30th, aged 88.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like
she
if I
was
had the
such a sweet
Instagram
old
account, I
lady.
would have done an RIP.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Oh,
did
she
I?
was in doubt. Sister Veronica.
Oh.
Wow.
She had a very lucrative career
Yeah.
as a little old lady.
Not to be confused with the little old lady in The Wedding Singer who does the hip hop, hip it to the hip to the hip. I thought that's who you thought had died.
That
'Cause
woman,
she
like,
died
a
recently,
famous,
too.
No, she's like a famous old-timey actress.
Ellen Albertini Dow
Maybe not.
died
I'm
May
thinking of the
4th,
Titanic woman.
2015. Oh my God, who is that?
Gloria something?
Looking up all these old people. Gloria Stewart.
Yes.
You're right. She died in 2010, aged 100.
Yes.
Wow. I kind of remember that. That was a big deal. Yeah. The lady from the Titanic died.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. I feel like we didn't really do it justice. It's just hard, and I'm sorry if you do want to watch this movie after we talk about it, because it's really hard to find. We had to buy it for $12, so
We've bought a lot of movies. Well, just 2.
we'll be able to watch it forever and ever.
We
so.
bought this, but
hooray.
is it worth $12?
No.
Like what?
I'm not going to watch this movie for another 20 years.
That's so weird. But some you can't even buy. Like you cannot buy Buffy or Now and Then. It's dumb. It's so dumb
Horse
because
shit.
I want to watch those 2 so badly, and I know many of you want us to watch those movies as well. And I'm sorry that we can't, but God won't let us. So that sucks.
Yeah. Quick update on our tour of California. Just want to say we're back. We had a great time. California is awesome. I had a great time on Jeopardy, highlight of my young life.
Alex said that we were weird.
Yeah, Alex said we were weird. I talked about the podcast. He goes, "You and your sister sound a little weird." So that was going to be awesome.
Well,
and
he did not
such a good plug.
understand. I don't think he got your Goonies reference, and that's why he called us weird.
But
I was like,
you'll
what
have to
the
tune
fuck,
in
Alex?
and see what I said about the podcast and also about how well I did or did not do. It's airing on September 28th.
Great.
So that's
Mark
awesome.
it. Put it in your calendars.
But yeah,
Set a
we had a
reminder.
blast. California was beautiful, and it was very cool to be all around all that Hollywood and be on the soundstage and see the Santa Monica Pier and the Pacific Ocean, and the Santa Ana winds were blowing when we were there. So really cool.
Yeah, we should have done like a tour of and it's like some Earth Girls Are Easy tour or something, and like
Yeah.
found all the spots, but we just didn't have time. We were there for such a short amount of time. To get anywhere in California is like 20 to 30 minutes. It's like a total shit show of like it's 2 miles away and it takes all this time.
Right.
What a bummer. Because I feel like we would have done so many more
If
cool
we had
things.
a car, maybe that would have been easier. At least we would have been like,
I would not want to drive and go.
you wouldn't. Yeah. Well, it was like
It just
sitting in
seemed
traffic
very,
mostly.
I don't know. I know. It was just like,
And people were kind of
stressful.
jerky drivers, like a lot of beeping and
yeah.
But it was fun, great to be back, but good times had
And
by
now we're
all.
back and we're ready to podcast again.
Yeah.
Not sure what we'll do next. Oh, I want to do Clue next. Thoughts? Guess you don't. You're not very excited. I just love that movie.
Yeah. I know. I think we need to go back to, is that 80s? I think we need to go back to some more 80s ones.
Yeah.
I feel like people are wanting it.
No, I think they like everything.
Nah. You're wrong. I'm right.
You're wrong. Anyway, so thank you for listening. As always, find us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club and on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. By the way, that picture of me outside of the SLS hotel or whatever is getting so many random likes and comments
What?
from
That's
like
creepy.
weird California like hotel people that it's
Cool.
freaking me out.
Cool. You're a celebrity.
But I'm like, can you go away? Like look at this. Look at all these comments.
I don't understand. You're private though.
I know, but you can search locations. And
But
like,
why would they still be able to see your photo if it's private?
Oh, mine's not private.
You don't have a private Instagram?
No, who cares?
What? Creeper.
I don't care.
Andre?
What's gonna happen?
You don't want people seeing your shit.
What? They gonna come get me?
Okay, we're going to have a discussion when we close out here. I'm yelling at you.
Whatever.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.